Good afternoon. Per the flight program of the International Space Station from 2013, there is a plan to fly a TMA flight from Cosmodrome Baikonur. Let me introduce the prime crew. Commander of the crew, flight engineer of the ISS crew, Mikhail Tyurin, Russian Space Agency. Please welcome him. Mastracchio, flight engineer of the Soyuz vehicle, flight engineer of the ISS, NASA, US. Koichi Wakata, he is flight engineer of the Soyuz, flight engineer of Expedition 38 and commander of Expedition 39. Backup crew, commander of the Soyuz vehicle, flight engineer Maxim Surayev, flight engineer of the Soyuz vehicle, flight engineer Rick Wiseman, and flight engineer 2 of Soyuz vehicle, flight engineer Alexander Gerst. Isa. And now we're ready to start the press conference. But first, I would like to report that the State Commission has recommended to confirm the prime crew and the backup crew for the continuation of the training and completion of the preparation. Hello. Yelena, first I would like to congratulate you with the successful completion of your exams and training session and wanted to ask the following question. For the whole crew, what are your biggest expectations for the upcoming flight? Not just the Olympic fire, but maybe some other scientific experiments, photo observations, and anything else. Let me start, and then I'll give the floor to my crewmates. I understand this is probably a personal expectation you're asking for, because we can talk about official things, naturally. But my personal expectations are the upcoming opportunity to look at our Earth. And that's the most exciting.
I'll answer in English. I'll let Dasha translate. I've been to the space station 3 times already, but each time was only for a very short duration, only 2 weeks to help build the space station. So I'm most looking forward to on this is to learn how to live on board space station.
У меня уже была возможность 3 раза побывать на Международной космической станции, но это были краткосрочные полеты длительностью всего по 2 недели. В то время мы должны были заниматься дооснащением станции, собственно, строительством станции, а сейчас я с нетерпением жду моего длительного полета, именно пожить, поработать на станции в течение 6 месяцев.
And for me, it's my first time to launch and come back to the Earth on a Soyuz spacecraft. I'm very much looking forward to it for 6 months. It's going to be a very busy time, and I look forward to working different days every day.
Для меня это мой первый полет, старт и спуск на космическом корабле «Союз». Я с нетерпением жду возможности испытать это, и я с нетерпением жду возможности поработать на станции в течение полугода. У нас очень насыщенная космическая программа, и каждый день будет отлично от предыдущего.
Thank you very much. Next question, please. Fax, I wanted to congratulate you with the successful completion. And we saw that you had an Olympic fire torch. Could you please tell us about this ceremony? What exactly is planned to be done and how you're going to participate, how the fire will be delivered, and what do you feel about that specific mission? Okay, I'll take the floor first. You know, the fire torch is right here next to us on the table, and we actually brought it specifically as preparation because we knew that there'll be questions. We wanted to talk about it and show it to you. As far as the upcoming program related to the fire relay, there is a special script. There are a lot of events associated with the fire torch transfer, etc. Everything looks beautiful and very symbolic. I don't want to narrate all the events because you will see that, and that will be a live event for us. So, in other words, with feelings, and every person is trying to do it in an informal way. And as far as our sentiments related to that, it's difficult to express those. We can talk about thoughts, but not about feelings. Well, I wanted to emphasize that it's really interesting, and it's a great pleasure for us that we were the ones chosen to participate in it. And this is a great idea of the Olympic Games and the whole Olympic movement. We see a parallel between the Olympic movement and the space exploration that involves everybody. Maybe somebody wants to add something? Well, we were told that the fire torch will be delivered to Baikonur on Monday, which means yesterday. So this is not the original torch you have? Well, let me maybe redirect your question. The thing is, there's not only one torch that participates in this relay. There are quite a number of them. And as an engineer, I wanted to say this is just a means, a tool, but not one unique object. Therefore, each torch is an Olympic torch, but it's not the only one. And I have my own, believe it or not, because I participated in this relay in the past, so I have it. Could you please tell us in a more detail, because there were questions, because other cosmonauts were running and participating in the relay, so what were they carrying? When this relay march started in all different parts of our country, there were many participants. In fact, I ran in my hometown, city of Kolomna, and so I carried one there. In order to understand, I wanted to say that there is an Olympic torch and we participated. Let me show it to you because there were so many words said. So it was used to train the spacewalk with this Olympic torch. So could you please let us know that on the space station on November 7th we'll have 9 people, and yes, so this is also symbolic. We will deliver the fire onto the ISS, and then the crews will go outside for a spacewalk, and then the next crew will deliver it back on the ground. So we'll have our own relay in space. Yes, it's actually a very tight timeline, so we'll be with the fire for quite a while on the space station. So, and probably will be involved in other events associated with the Olympic Games. So I understand the Olympic Games related questions are done. So let's look at something else. RIA Novosti, Alexander. I have a question for the Japanese crew member, Koichi Wakata. First of all, I wanted to congratulate you as the first Japanese astronaut who will become the commander of the ISS crew. And that's really a remarkable event. And I wanted to ask you, which Japanese traditions will be included, or maybe you'll introduce on board the ISS as a commander. Maybe you'll bring something with you, maybe a small bottle of sake, and maybe you'll be heating it up on the Olympic flame or anything else. Could you please elaborate on some unusual Japanese experiments that you will be involved in as well?
Okay, there's no specific tradition that I'm planning to do as a commander of the space station, but the communication is the key to the success of space flight. So I would like to make sure that we have good teamwork, communication between the crew members and also with the ground support teams. And also I have a lot of good Japanese space food that was launched on a Japanese cargo ship HTV. So I look forward to sharing my good Japanese food with my crewmates.
And if I may, I'd like to elaborate. Koichi is right by saying that it's not necessary to bring anything specific on board the ISS. But also, I wanted to remind all of us and ourselves that our International Space Station is not only a unique technical creation, but it's also a unique laboratory, intercultural, interpsychological, communication-wise, the way we talk to each other, the way we communicate, the way we try to learn from each other, including national traits and national traditions. The most effective method of exchange is doing something together. And that's exactly what we are planning to do on board the ISS, and I hope we'll be successful in terms of creating something useful. And I also would like to mention when expedition crew will arrive on board the ISS, we'll have NASA, RSA, and JAXA, ESA representatives. That's a great example. Please allow me to ask a question in Japanese. So one answer in Japanese and one question is in Japanese.
今回、出発が、打ち上げが、間近に迫っているということで、今の率直なご心境、ご感想をお伺いしたいのと、あと、船長を日本人で初めて務められるということで、もし若田さんの中に今まで世界の中で尊敬すべき、船長、宇宙飛行士がいらっしゃったら、一人挙げていただければと思います。
What are your feelings and sentiments being the commander?
訓練は非常に順調に進んでいます。2週間後に、控えた、打ち上げに向けてクルーのチームワークも非常によく取れておりますので、このまま健康状態を維持して打ち上げに臨みたいなと思います。先ほども申し上げましたけど、やはり宇宙飛行の成功のためにはきちんとしたコミュニケーションが重要だと思いますので、しっかり取れているチームワーク、この、状態を維持しながら、宇宙でも頑張っていければ、宇宙で、宇宙ステーションの利用の成果を最大限に出せるような、いい仕事ができると思っています。で、皆さんすごく能力の高い、志の高い宇宙飛行士ですので、やはり皆さんの、その持っている力を最大限に出せるような、そういう舵取りをしたいと思います。で、尊敬する方、船長、私はこれまで3回宇宙飛行させてもらいましたけれども、私の前回の船長であったゲナーディ・パダルカさん、それから私が初めてスペースシャトルで乗った時のブライアン・ダフィー船長、そういった方からは、たくさん学ぶことができました。
I said that we are ready and we had a chance to work together on the ground for 2.5 years. And I believe that the foundation of a successful mission is communication and training, and we are a very experienced crew, and I'm sure that we will work together in an integrated way, as an integrated team, and we will use the great qualities of each other. And I believe that's all I've said. We understand, Koichi, that by using such an excellent Russian language, that Mikhail is integrated very well. Okay, another question, please. I'm going to give you the microphone. Vasilisa Pogreeva, Echo of Moscow. A question is for Maxim. We were looking at you behind the glass of the monitors. So what has happened during the exam? Which glass do you mean? The monitor? Which exam? Well, the Russian segment exam. You know, the training process is well developed. It has been in development for many years, and so every crew undergoes a series of exams. Of course, the prime crew passed the exams better than we had because they're the prime. They had better training. And the backup crew should take the exams in such a way that the prime crew wouldn't think that the backup crew can come and replace them. So everybody took exams, but the prime crew passed the exams much better than we did. All right, thank you. Next question. Vladimir Valikin, please let us know if you plan to perform any EVAs and what activities you'll be doing. The answer is very simple. Per the current program, there is no EVA planned. Although, who knows what might happen. But officially, I can say that because I actually had to go twice outside performing EVA without prior planning, but just the situation was such that we had to do it. And not only we didn't have a training for that on the ground, specifically for that EVA, but we didn't know what to expect. Well, I also wanted to draw your attention that this upcoming expedition crew is probably one of the most experienced one. Mikhail Tyurin went spacewalk several times, so he is very experienced. Ksenia Brokina, could you please let us know about what we call a tuning of a space vehicle and also any specific decorations you're going to bring and decorate the ISS? You know, this is probably one of the components of the preparation for a number of events related to the Olympic flame. So some of the elements that make part of the whole picture actually are not publicized yet, so the public would not lose the interest. But will we see it? Of course. You will see it on TV. We'll show you everything from the ISS. It's highly symbolic that the rocket and the 50-year anniversary of the first flight of a human in space coincided with your stay on the ISS, and you used a lot of symbology on board the ISS to commemorate that. Another question, maybe to Rick. Is your country involved? Is your country happy that you will be participating with the Olympic flame activity, or is it just only our country, Russia, is so excited?
Country, since I've been out of the country for such a long time.
Я ничего особенного не слышал, чтобы происходило в моей стране по поводу этих событий.
But I do know that all the folks back in the United States will be watching the launch closely, and they're very excited about us carrying the Olympic torch.
Ну, конечно, вся моя страна будет смотреть запуск ракеты, и, конечно, все будут наблюдать за тем выходом, во время которого будет вынесен олимпийский факел.
It's the same in Japan, but there will be a lot of, I think, a TV program that will be broadcasting our launch. So hopefully we will be able to show this beautiful torch before launch and in space.
Тоже вопрос ко всем членам экипажа. Чем вы будете заниматься в свободное время? Может быть...
Another question is for the crew. What are you going to do on orbit in your free time? Maybe you'll do some specific sports, because sports is a very important part of a day of an astronaut. You know, I'll be frank with you. We don't have any specific plans for sports or for free time. As in our personal lives on the ground, these are long duration flights. So if it were a 2-week mission, then we could plan. But how can you plan every day for 6 months? So as in everyday life, we have our own preferences. What about you personally? I like communicating with people, because a human is an endless system to learn, and it's really fathomless. You can learn about any humans for a long time. And maybe I'll open a little mystery, but we have a guitar on board this station, and Mikhail is a good player. Well, we'll find things to do on orbit if we have free time. That's important. Which songs do you sing? You know, depends on our mood. I'm not a performer, and I don't have a repertoire. But do you sing Russian ones or international? Different ones, depending on our own mood, on my own mood. I don't do it as a performer for a show, because it's for me, depending on my mood. It's difficult to say. But do you have any songs you can sing together as an international team? Yes, we can, but not now. Rick, what are you planning to do in your free time?
I believe that much of my free time will be spent looking out the window at the beautiful Earth below.
Я надеюсь, что большую часть своего свободного времени я смогу посвятить взгляду на Землю через иллюминатор.
But I'm sure that during the Olympics, we'll be spending some time hopefully watching some of the events on orbit and enjoying the competition.
Ну, конечно, во время Олимпийских игр мы все будем смотреть эти Олимпийские игры, смотреть соревнования и наслаждаться этим.
Yes, I will be doing very similar things. What Rick said, I'll be taking a lot of pictures of the Earth. And as a matter of fact, in a few weeks, at the end of this November, there will be a comet Ison that will be passing by Earth and also the Sun. So I look forward to taking good pictures of comet Ison. Also, Japan launched a high-definition TV camera of 4K camera on the Konotori spacecraft in August. So I'll do my best to utilize this high-definition camera's capacity to take beautiful pictures of comet Ison. That's what I would like to prepare for.
Можно вопрос еще?
Maybe we'll ask another question. You will be celebrating New Year during your expedition flight. And given that you have such an international presence, how many times are you planning to celebrate New Year? And are you planning to bring some gifts for the crew that is waiting for you on orbit? So many questions in one. Let me try to untangle it and answer one by one. I think we'll be celebrating New Year 16 times because that's how nature works. In space, we have incredible opportunities not only to greet the new year, but also to say goodbye to it. So we fly into New Year and fly out, in and out, 16 times total. So we'll try not to miss this unique opportunity. Gifts, of course, we're going to carry them. We actually came up with a few ideas, but we're not going to voice them because a New Year gift is a bit of a surprise, and it should stay this way. So have I answered all your questions? And what about costumes? They'll have their own costumes, and we understand you have a Christmas tree. Of course, as any home, space station is not just a scientific laboratory, but it's also a home to people who stay there and live and work. And we have opportunities to celebrate some holidays and things like that. Therefore, as in any normal household, we have a Christmas tree, we have Christmas decorations and such. Alexander. All right, one question. This is a traditional question about the gravity indicator. We know each crew brings a toy that shows gravity. So what are you planning to carry? And second, are you planning to take some photos from space of the Olympic events? Which events? Maybe the opening of the Olympic Games, of course, naturally. If the weather allows us to do that, because it's not easy to take a clear photo of things on the ground when the weather conditions are not ideal. But we'll make every effort to take those photos of the opening of the Olympic Games, and that's actually of great interest to us as well, as humans, to see what's happening and to show it to other people. As far as the gravity indicator, maybe it'll be a boring answer for you. I look at it as a utilitarian object just to indicate gravity, but it's not a specific symbol or anything else. So it'll just be a little object without any deep meaning, and it'll just be an object that'll be gravitating. Do you know which one? I don't know. I haven't thought about it. Maybe the crew members have something. Well, we'll discuss it. Yes, we have just a few days left before flying to Baikonur. Exactly, we have time. This is a Japanese newspaper. We would like to ask a question to Mr. Wakata, because for the Japanese nation, it's a really great event. Could you tell us in more detail about your feelings and tasks in space? And we probably think you'll have a chance to see the Olympic Games from orbit. Could you please tell us how you plan to do it? Now the answer in English.
I hope we can see the activities in Sochi, and the fact that the Olympic torch is going to fly to the space station is very symbolic, because Olympic is a place where people from all over the world get together in one place, and then through sports we expand or extend our friendship. And ISS is also a place where people from all over the world get together in space and build an outstanding facility to expand our frontier in space. So it really matches the vision of space exploration. So I'm very glad that I am participating in this Olympic torch relay. And I hope we can take some good pictures of Sochi from the space station.
For NASA TV, for Rick Mastracchio, this is going to be your first long-duration mission to the space station. Specifically, what scientific and research experiments do you think you're looking forward to performing the most?
We train on many different types of experiments on board the space station.
Мы во время нашей подготовки готовились к проведению различных экспериментов на борту космической станции.
Some of the experiments, we are the experiment, our bodies are the experiment. Some experiments we're actually working on the experiments for the scientists.
Для некоторых экспериментов мы, собственно, наши тела являются экспериментальным материалом, то есть некоторые эксперименты проводятся над нами в научных целях.
I don't have any specific favorites, but I really am going to enjoy the experiments where I will be working closely with the scientists on the ground to further their research. I really look forward to working with them.
And again for NASA TV, this one's actually for the two first-time flying backup crew members for Reed Wiseman and for Alex Gerst. You're less than a half a year away from your mission to the space station. And for both of you, how are you feeling about your training as you get closer to your first flight? And for Alex, if you could please answer in both English and German.
We've been training together for nearly 2 years, 2.5 years. And that's been some of the best professional days and training of my life to date. So really, every day is like a new adventure. The next day is better than the previous. And here we stand 6 months from our first flight together, and I think that's the adventure. That's the one we're waiting for, and we're excited.
Well, I can only agree to what Reed said here. Definitely, it was an interesting time for me as somebody who's going through that first time. So one of the most interesting things that I noticed was how we came together in the beginning as colleagues, as acquaintances. We started working together and then became a really good group of friends, and that transformed further into now we're a real team who flies into space together in a real vehicle, and that is something that I'm very much looking forward to. It's a very new perspective. Für mich ist es natürlich eine großartige neue Erfahrung. Mein Kollege Reed hat es schon gesagt, dass es für uns eine Zeit war, in der wir transformiert sind von einer Gruppe bekannten Kollegen zusammen in eine Gruppe von Freunden, und danach jetzt sind wir eine Mannschaft, die zusammen in den Weltraum fliegen auf einem richtigen Raumschiff. Das ist eine sehr beeindruckende und aufregende Erfahrung für mich im positiven Sinn.
Thank you very much for your answers, and thank you to all the journalists for the questions. Let's thank the crews, and this is the traditional photos. Please turn it sideways, like this.
это очень трудно. Correct Japanese. No, I don't think I will.
Экипажная задержка.
И еще раз. Раз. Так, еще раз. Тогда будет поменяться, правильно, Максим, встань.
И сказал, что все, что мы помним о нем, рассказываем, это действительно истинная правда. Насколько будет интересен человек для многих людей.
People were smaller back then. Yep.
This is a good new tradition over here.
This is like summer in Connecticut, where I grew up.
It's like advanced. Like in micro. Like, you know, we did this kind of.
Не, лучше сними.
Все, сейчас снимаем.